This is the Patton Sports Videocast with Maurice, Patton, and Terrence Smithson. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, Nashville's answer to fast, friendly, healthy comfort food. With a menu featuring assorted grilled meats, fresh veggies, and a dash of inspiration, Taziki's casual dining is perfect for lunch, before a movie, or a dinner featuring laughter and great memories. Originality is our nationality. With 7 Middle Tennessee locations, one of them is near you. Check www.tazikiscafe.com to select your nearest location and next favorite dish.
Want to play ball at the next level? You got what it takes? Then you got to provide a professional highlight video to coaches. Recruit Reels is the nation's leading sports highlight video production company, and they're here in Tennessee. Starting at just $3.99, Recruit Reels helps student athletes realize their dream and families afford college. Watch highlight videos and review video packages at recruitreels.com. Call them at 615-896-6076.
I want to welcome everyone into the Patton Sports Videocast as we head into Week 10, the next to the last week of the regular season. I'm Maurice Patton along with Terrence Smithson. I'm not sure if you can tell what practice field we're at, but we're out here at Riverdale. Warriors with a huge Region 2 6A matchup coming up. They travel to Smyrna on Friday night. We're going to get into that game a little bit later, but right now over in Region 3 6A, Region Championship ball game. I mean, they don't define them, they don't declare them as such, but when you look at the standings, you see Franklin at the top and you see Mount Juliet at number 2, and those two meet Friday night. The Rebels travel to the Bears Den, they call it, and get some of Trey Perry's bunch over there, and this one should be a good one.
It should be a good one, and I'm interested to see what Mr. Barrett Brown, 6'4", 270-pound defensive tackle, can get done against that Mount Juliet front. He and Harrison Brown and Connor Park, that's going to be, I think, the key to the game is how well that defense plays against that Mount Juliet front.
Talked to Donnie Webb over the weekend, and he kind of pointed out Harrison Brown and the job that he had been doing at linebacker here the last little bit. Did not mention Connor Polk, but I'm sure it was just an oversight. But like you said, those two linebackers are going to be busy against Mount Juliet's run game, led by Aiden Raines, a kid who moved inside from receiver earlier this year, and Mason Earls, the quarterback, likes to run it a lot as well. I'm not sure how many passes Mount Juliet will throw. Franklin will throw it a little bit more often, even out of their triple option attack, because they like to suck you in, and then hit you over the top with Alex Gaka and J.P. Batarsi in the passing game. But that run game, again, for Franklin is where their bread is buttered.
It is, and it's behind Caden Williams and Mr. Ray, Max Ray over there, but they do throw the ball very effectively. That's what I like about Franklin. They throw the ball only on average 12 times a game, but they complete 8 of them.
Yeah.
And 2 of them for touchdown. So giving them a QB rating of 134.3, which means the 2 quarterback system that they have, which most coaches don't like, works.
You know, I asked Donnie about that. I said, you know, the old saying, Terrence, and you heard it, y'all have heard it, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks.
Exactly.
He said, we got 2 quarterbacks and we ain't changing a thing. So he really likes Junior Carter Henry and Senior Wes Patterson and what they're giving them. And he really gave kudos to the offensive coordinator, Dan Winfrey, for the feel that he has for when to get who in there. And both of them very effective. He said they both handle the offense. There's nothing that they scale back for either of them. The playbook is wide open for both of them, and they both do a great job with it. They've just got 2 quarterbacks that they feel really comfortable with.
They run a balanced attack, even if you can call running 85% of the time balanced, but the one person doesn't carry the ball 40 times. Mitch Ross is the focal point of that rushing attack, but he doesn't touch the ball 40 times as some programs do.
And he gets it in the passing game as well.
He does. And they do a great job of getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers at key points during the game, right when they suck the defense in.
And you know, they beat Wilson Central a couple of weeks ago, 42-35, stayed in it. Wilson Central challenged them late. They were able to be resilient and win that one. Turned around and beat McGavock last week, 48-21. This Franklin team's putting some points on the board.
They are putting points on the board. That said, I think their defense is going to be key in this game this weekend.
Mount Juliet has been playing awfully well here down the stretch. They were idle this past week, but they beat Antioch 45-0 the week before that for their 5th straight win. So Mount Juliet's playing with a lot of confidence, got off to that 1-2 start. Again, we keep referring back to the game we saw week 2, I guess it was, when they lost to Cane Ridge 28-19. They lost the following week to Ravenwood 12-7 to go to 1-2, but their one win was over a Gallatin team that's been a lot better than we realized at the time.
You're right, Gallatin is a lot better, but I think the play calling is going to be instrumental for Mount Juliet to have a chance in this game. If they run those big guys on that front downhill, it could be a problem for the Rebels. I
think you're right. I'm expecting this to be a very physical matchup, definitely a run-oriented matchup, and obviously there's a lot at stake in this one. So catch it on my TV 30. It's the Friday Night Rivals game of the week this week. Region 5 3A ball game with some postseason implications as well. CPA goes to Good Pasture. The Lions 3-5 overall. All 3 of their wins are in region play. They're 3-1 in the region. Good Pasture 6-2 overall, 3-1 in the region. Both of them have losses to Stratford, so they're playing for 2nd place, and when only your top 4 teams go to the region, 2nd place hosts an opening round playoff game. 3rd place does not. So a lot at stake in this one for both the Cougars and the Lions.
Ingle Martin's got that CPA team gelling at the right time. They're beating the teams they need to beat to get into the postseason. And a few weeks back, we were feeling like they might be playing for next season, but they're deciding they're going to play for this season right now.
Absolutely. You know, they lost at Stratford. I'm sorry, I think that game was at CPA. They lost to Stratford 7-6 a couple of weeks ago, and I had a chance to talk to Maurice Fitzgerald after that and ask him, you know, what took place, because really we would have expected that to have been less of a contested affair than it turned out to be. And the phrase that he hit me with was, CPA's got the heart of a champion. And, you know, when you've accomplished what they've accomplished here in their recent past, you know that they're a dangerous bunch, and they're kind of a wounded animal to some degree. Well, since that game, they've turned around and won back-to-back games. They defeated East Nashville 28-0. Last week they beat Greenbrier 46-19. So, like you said, they're starting to gel and starting to see the results of this whole season and what they've gone through over the early portion of their schedule.
When you have a program that's used to winning, they don't like losing, and they will do anything in their power to win. And the good leadership on that team, they got some seniors that decided, hey, we're not going out like that, and we're going to win to the best of our ability.
And so they go to Good Pasture with a bit of a chip on their shoulder and something to get done. Meanwhile, the Cougars, again, 6-2 overall, 3-1 in region play. They just defeated East Nashville 23-0 last week after their 15-14 loss to Stratford. So a couple of teams with something to play for here.
Well, seems like common denominator in there is everybody's losing to Stratford. Stratford's got a good program. Coach Fitzgerald's got it rolling over there. If he can just keep his players on the field, he'll have a formidable group going into the postseason.
And when you say on the field, you mean as opposed to over there on the sideline with him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they
in street clothes.
Yeah,
not on crutches.
They had some issues that they had to deal with a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully they've gotten those dealt with, because when a team has had the season that Stratford's had, you want them to be at full strength going forward.
You do.
But big game at Good Pasture on Friday night when CPA rolls in there. That'll get you started. We got a few more matchups to talk about here in Week 10 when we come back. John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building.
Express Employment Professionals North Nashville and downtown Owned by respected business leaders Christy and Jason Patrick, is the premier employment agency in the community. Express is one of the community's largest employers, consistently working over 500 people at over 125 private businesses each week in Davidson County. Whether you are a company looking for the next great employee or a candidate looking for the next great job, Express is the employment resource for you. Call them at 615-313-3690 or visit their website at www.expresspros.com/in-Nashville-TN. Like them on Facebook at Express Employment Professionals, Nashville North and Downtown.
Terrence, we've reached the 5A portion of this week's video cast. In Region 6-5A, Gallatin goes to Hillsboro, and you know, we've not mentioned the boroughs the last few weeks. They've been a little bit off the radar, but they've done some pretty good work here over the last couple of games. They defeated Hunters Lane 42-0, and they defeated Glencliff 62-0 to kind of stay on the fringe of postseason talk here, but they got a big matchup Friday night when Gallatin comes in there. Hillsboro's 4-4 overall, 3-2 in region play. Gallatin comes in at 6-2 overall, 4-1 in the region.
Yeah, Hendersonville's got their eye on them because right now, Hillsboro, if they win out, they go. Hendersonville's home. Had a chance to talk to Daily Cull over the weekend, and they plan on winning out. So Hillsboro's got to take care of business against Gallatin, and we know Gallatin's going to be handing the ball to Mr. number 27.
Mr. number 27, Jordan Mason, young man who has an offer from Iowa State, picked up an offer this weekend from Texas San Antonio. So his stature's starting to rise a little bit, as it should. The kid's closing in on 2,000 rushing yards this season. Set the Gallatin career rushing record a couple of weeks ago in that 49-20 win over Hendersonville. They were open this past week, so they've not played since then, and had a chance to rest up and kind of focus a little bit on this big road trip for him. But while you're watching Jordan Mason, you got to keep an eye on Desmond Chambers out there on the edge as well. Receiver had a couple of big touchdown catches in that Hendersonville game, one for 78 yards, one for 58 yards. So again, if you get too focused on Mason, they can hurt you up top.
They can, and it's going to be instrumental how well that offensive line plays against Mr. Ben Hutch and Joseph Honeysucker on that defensive line for Hillsboro, because we all know they like to hand it to Mason, and if they can give him enough room to get a pass or two off in that passing game, could make things real interesting.
I think though that that Hillsboro defense will make things interesting too, because like you said, Hutch up front is going to demand a double team, and that allows Honeysucker and Wiggins and some of those other guys to flow to the ball and make some plays. And back there on the back end, you've got Matthew Jackson and some playmakers back there as well. So Gallatin's got to be pretty prudent in when they do put the ball in the air and trying to get Mason some room to run as well. Meanwhile, when Hillsboro's got the ball, look for Javonte Patton to get it a lot, and look for the sophomore running back Barry and Claybrooks to be pretty involved as well. But you know, quarterback play's been a little shaky for Hillsboro, which when you're dealing with a Craig Clayton coach team is not something that you expect. But their quarterback play hasn't been what they'd like for it to be, and whether they can get that solved well enough to balance things out is kind of going to be a key for them, I think.
It will, and the quarterback's always the most important person on the field because he touches the ball every play on offense unless you're running a wildcat, and it's always important for him to be efficient. And he was talking about being prudent and efficient. If he hits his throws and not the other team, they have a good chance for success.
Now, you mentioned the Wildcat. Don't be surprised to see number one, Javonte Patton for Hillsboro, taking a few snaps and just turning it up and going with it just to get him involved. He's a playmaker. He's got a lot of scholarship offers, and he's a guy who can bust a big play and may have to Friday night to stay up with Gallatin. So big ball game in Region 6-5A over there. In Region 7-5A. Henry County out of Paris comes to town. They're over at Brentwood. The Patriots come in. They're 5-2 overall, undefeated in region play at 5-0. Brentwood 4-4 overall, 3-2 in the region, and the Bruins looking to slow this Patriot team down.
Well, they're going to have to have a big game out of Cole Mabry and his bookend on the other side, Braxton McGill, in order to put a stop to this Patriot run. Patriots are on a little run down the stretch here, and they're going to have to move the ball efficiently. And really, Brentwood's been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team to this point. You never know what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, and I think that's what you get when you've got a first-year starter at quarterback. I think Carson Shacklett is starting to kind of grow into that role. He ran for a touchdown and threw for one in last week's 27-17 loss to Centennial. I would be more concerned, if I'm Brentwood, with their defensive effort. They gave up 371 rushing yards in that loss to Centennial, and that's what you're going to get out of Henry County, because they've got a couple of really nice running backs in Caleb McCutcheon and Lucas Reynolds, a couple of juniors. Savon Stewart, the quarterback, will throw it, but his preferred mode of moving the ball is with his feet as well. So if Brentwood doesn't get some things shored up from last week to this week, they could be in some hurt.
Well, they sure have showed a propensity for scoring points, that being the Patriots. And Brentwood has shown a propensity to give up some points, and that's not a good mix if you're Brentwood.
If you're Brentwood, exactly. Henry County's won 4 straight now. They were off last weekend. The week before that, they defeated Dixon County 63-43, to your point of putting points up. So they started off 1-2. They lost a game the weather weekend, week 2. So they're going to finish up with 9 regular season games. But this is a big ball game for Henry County. They need to win it to keep pace with Centennial heading into next week when Centennial goes to Henry County. But Brentwood looking to kind of slow things down for the Patriots this weekend. So big matchup there in Region 7 5A. In Region 5 5A, where everybody is kind of looking up at Independence, you've got a battle for second place here with Summit 6-2 overall, 4-1 in the region, going to Stewart's Creek 4-4 overall, 3-2 in the region. These two met up last year with some playoff implications. Stewart's Creek wins at 45-21 at Summit and then stubbed their toe the final week of the season, so they both missed out. Summit is in. They're trying to get a first-round home game. Again, they're 4-1 in the region. They're only lost to Independence. They are one of the top 4 teams. They are going to the playoffs, first time in that young program's history. So congratulations to Brian Coleman and that bunch. I think they had some expectations along those lines coming into this year. But again, they're in. Hosting is kind of what they are looking at this point, and Stewart's Creek can kind of put a crimp in that with a win this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what, I saw Summit in the Jamboree, and I had no idea of them having any postseason aspirations. They've taken advantage of their schedule, and hey, they're on a roll.
Ty Carter went over the 1,000-yard mark last weekend in their 37-7 win over Lincoln County, but he's just one of a number of running backs that can go the distance for you and get 100 for you on any given Friday night, along with Dalton Fisher, Tyler Palmer, and Christian Snyder. So they are definitely going to run the ball early and often.
These teams are mirror images of each other. Both run the kind of a wing T type offense, run 3-4 defense. They look like one another, so this will be another practice. So it'll be interesting to see who exactly can take control of the line of scrimmage in this game.
And what's different about that, as far as Stewart's Creek is concerned, is that wasn't their plan coming into the year.
No, it wasn't. David Martin had to adjust on the fly and come up with a way to get the ball into his playmakers' hands, which we figured would be Zach Long would be the biggest of those playmakers, but hadn't heard much from him this season.
He had like 8 carries for 25 yards in their loss to Shelbyville last weekend, but they've got some guys that are toting the ball. Keyshawn Walker has stepped up for him. Trey like I said, I only have to spell it usually, but you know who you are, Trey, and we got our eye on you. I think he's an Austin Peay commit, so guy who can do it both in the passing game and in the run game. And Nathan Wright is another guy who has been productive for them since they have kind of revamped their offense a little bit. So you've got some guys who can create some problems for opposing defenses. And again, obviously, with the numbers that both these teams are putting up of late, this is going to be a run-oriented ball game. The ball may not be in the air more than 10 times total.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Stewart's Creek can slow them down, because they didn't slow Shelbyville down last week, so hopefully they can slow this team down and make a game out of it.
49-47, Shelbyville beat Stewart's Creek this past weekend. Stewart's Creek had a 47-yard field goal, bounced off the crossbar, bounced back into the field of play as time ran out. So that's how close they were to pulling that one off. So I'm sure David Martin has that team's attention as they get ready for this matchup with Summit, with as much on the line as there is here. Again, Summit trying to nail down a home field advantage in the opening round of the playoffs. Stewart's Creek trying to shore up their playoff chances. So a big one again over there in Region 5-5A. When we get back, we're going to get into Riverdale and Smyrna. Stay with us. Tzatziki's Mediterranean Cafe, Nashville's answer to fast, friendly, healthy comfort food. With a menu featuring assorted grilled meats, fresh veggies, and a dash of inspiration, Tzatziki's casual dining is perfect for lunch, before a movie, or a dinner featuring laughter and great memories. Originality is our nationality. With 7 Middle Tennessee locations, one of them is near you. Check www.tzatzikiscafe.com to select your nearest location and next favorite dish. At National Playmakers Academy, developing NPA athletes comes in threes. NPA develops its student athletes' academic, social, and football-specific skills. Next, NPA develops them for better exposure today, recruitment tomorrow, and college education through scholarships for the rest of their lives. We are proud of the outstanding athletes we have developed. We are more proud of the college graduates we have prepared. Work with National Playmakers Academy for developing gifted athletes into productive citizens.
Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers combine the best of bowling, games, food, drink, and fun. For all Middle Tennessee residents, Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers are the ideal destination for family entertainment. The safe, friendly environment is perfect for birthday parties for kids of all ages or business outings for adults who work too hard. Our friendly staff and fun atmosphere will help create those enjoyable memories with your coworkers, friends, and loved ones. Don't forget to sign your kids up for our Kids Bowl Free summer program. Visit us online at strikeandsparebowling.com or come see us in person at any of our nearby Strike and Spare locations in Donaldson, Hendersonville, Hermitage, Murfreesboro, and the Tusculum area for more details. We'll see you soon.
Terrence, Riverdale coming in off of a tough 35-7 loss at home to Oakland last week, trying to regather. They had won 3 straight going into that ball game. That's just what Oakland's been doing all year, though. So I'm not sure how much offense you take to it if you're Riverdale, but they've got to get focused for this one. Smyrna went up to Cookeville this past weekend, won a 42-17 ball game. So this is a tough Smyrna team coming in here.
It is a tough Smyrna team, and it's a somewhat revamped Smyrna team now that John Turner, the star quarterback, is making plays with his feet. He's normally a guy who makes the plays with his arm, but he scored twice rushing last week, and that's unusual.
That really is. He also threw for 4 touchdowns, though, true to what we've come to expect out of him. 17 of 23, 284 yards, and the 4 touchdowns. And when you say revamped, they're also revamped from the standpoint that they had Casey Perkins, one of the top running backs in the mid-state, coming into the season, went down in that Independence loss with a knee injury and has been done for the year. Blake Watkins, a sophomore, stepped back there, 16 carries for 88 yards against Cookeville, also had 5 catches for 79 yards. So he's given them some versatility out of that spot. And when you flip over to the defensive side of the ball, they've got a couple of linebackers in Nick Okeke and Dalen Williams who have really kind of anchored things for the Bulldogs on that side of the ball.
Those two may be the best linebacker tandem in the state. They both 6'2", 220 pounds, and they bring it.
They look every bit the part, too. They do. Again, Riverdale 35-7 last week. Marquell Odom got a lot of time at quarterback, finished up with 137 total offensive yards. Hit a 51-yard pass to Jerick Campbell, sorry. For their only score. Struggled offensively, 200 yards, and obviously with Smyrna as potent as they've been on offense, Riverdale is going to be hard-pressed to keep up, I think.
They are, and Riverdale struggles in the pass game, and when you become one-dimensional against a team like Oakland, there's not much for you because they're great against the run, and they got that SEC secondary back there, so it's hard to pass, and when you're not good at passing in the first place,
it's a tough night. It's a tough night.
And then Smyrna brings Jordan Vaughn, a big 6 foot, 300 pound defensive tackle, and Dallas Edwards, 6'3", 230 pound defensive end, who's a freshman and one of the leading tacklers on the team. So look at that. Look out for Mr. Dallas Edwards.
Dallas Edwards.
Dallas Edwards.
What'd you say, 6'3" what?
6'3", 230.
Freshman.
Freshman.
Okay. File that one away.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Smyrna's 2 losses came against Independence and in region played a Blackman, but they've bounced back from that. Again, they went on the road to Cookeville, won a big one this past weekend, and again, maybe now they're kind of getting to where we expected them to be all along. I think they've got Oakland next week, so that's going to be a big one for them, but they really want to take care of business at home Friday night when Riverdale comes in there.
Oh yeah, they want to take care of the county rival. It's always big when Riverdale and Smyrna get together. And Smyrna's they had a few growing pains with losing a star back like Casey Perkins, like you said. Blake Watkins said about him, he can make his own play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you lose a guy like that, it's tough. But Blake Watkins is a very capable back. And he's very capable of carrying the load. He's young and he's learning.
Absolutely. Got a few more games we want to take a look at here because it's a great schedule this Friday night. Be sure you get out and see one of these. Maplewood 6-2, number 10 in the Associated Press poll in Class 4A, goes to Lewisburg for a matchup with Marshall County, the number 4 team in the state in Class 4A, 7-1. Maplewood, their 2 losses are to Stratford, who's ranked in 3A, and to Pearl Cone, who's ranked just ahead of Marshall County, actually at number 3 in 4A. So Maplewood's tested themselves, had a big win this past weekend, 44-13 against Portland. And Jeremy McDowell's a kid that we've talked about a little bit, the defending 200-meter state champion for Class AAA. Portland couldn't catch him either. 12 carries, 212 yards, had a 71-yard touchdown and a 92-yarder. So if you don't catch him at the line of scrimmage, you're not going to catch him.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Spencer Graves and Lamont Ezel, the big offensive lineman for Maplewood, try to make sure that he gets through the line of scrimmage. And once he gets through the line of scrimmage, Katie ball the door.
88 and out the gate. Yep.
Not many folks going to catch him.
Meanwhile, Bobo Hodges, 11 of 13, 316 yards and 4 touchdowns in that win against Portland. So Maplewood showing an ability to be explosive on the offensive side of the ball. Ditto from Marshall County. They just won 49-12 against Spring Hill last week. Big night out of Cameron Liggett, their junior running back. 16 carries, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bryce Wallace, the sophomore quarterback, 13 of 17 for 233 yards and 3 scores. So I don't know if they got a backup scoreboard at Marshall County or not, but the starter might get tested Friday night.
Yes, and Dave Adams, a big 6'4", 310-pound offensive tackle for Marshall County, can get Cam Liggett through the line. It's going to be a long night for somebody trying to catch him.
Yeah, so this wasn't one of our top games, basically because it's a non-region game, and both these teams are headed to the playoffs and could make some noise once they get there. But we just focused a little bit more on some of those key region matchups with some postseason implications. But this is going to be a great one as well. A few other ones to keep an eye on. Fairview, undefeated Fairview, 8-0 overall, 4-0 in Region 6-3A, goes to Camden. The Lions 5-2 overall, 3-1 in the region. This is another one that's going to be for a region championship, basically. And Fairview has played with a chip on their shoulder all year ever since that 39-0 loss to Stratford in the opening round of the playoffs last year.
Everybody's mad at Stratford.
Yep.
They come up in every conversation.
Hey, which tells you the job that Maurice Fitzgerald has done over there again. But I know Chris Hughes, and I know that he's coached off of that game all year. He's just keeping that chip on those kids' shoulders, and the fact that they're still not ranked in the AP top 10. So anyway, in Division 2 AA, Pope John Paul II, coming off a big 21-19 win over Baylor last weekend, gets McCallie coming to their place Friday night. The Knights 5-3 overall, they're 2-3 in region play. McCallie comes in at 5-3 overall as well, 2-2 in the region play, and McCallie coming off a tough loss to Ensworth last week.
That was an unexpected loss, but that just goes to show, like we were talking about CPA, Ensworth is a program that they're used to winning, have that tradition, and they want to go down swinging.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on that one as JP2 continues to try to extend their season with Justin Geisinger and that senior bunch that they've kind of built around for the last couple of years. In Region 5, 1A, Nashville Christian, 6-2 overall, 6-0 in region play, goes to Middle Tennessee Christian, 7-2 overall, 5-2 in the region play are the Cougars. They're coming off a tough loss at Trousdale County last week.
Right, and that was a big loss for them, and they've lost a couple now in that region. And Brant Lawless and Jesse Watson are going to be tough for them to contain, because those guys really get it done, along with Leland Wilhoit and Xavier Myers and Bryce Pemberton. There's just stars all over that field for Nashville Christian. It's going to be hard for MTCS to hold up.
The defending 1A state champions look like they might be getting ready to make another run here. Meanwhile, Middle Tennessee Christian trying to hang on to a playoff spot, and it looks like they're going to go on the road if they do make it at all at this point.
Well, they're in. They've been in for a while. It's just their schedule was backloaded, and boy, they got some monsters at the end of the schedule.
No question. In Region 3-6A, we talked about the main event, that Franklin Mount Juliet game. One of the undercards, I guess, Wilson Central, 6-2 overall, 3-2 in region play, goes to Ravenwood, 4-4 overall, also 3-2 in region play. And so this one could be a game that has an impact on the top half versus that 4-5 and who stays at home for that first round and who hits I-40 West.
Yes, Wilson Central's got a chip on their shoulder. They've lost a couple of games here lately, and they went into 3 weeks ago, they were undefeated. Mm-hmm. And now they've got Ravenwood coming to town, the defending 6A champions. So I think they're going to be looking to exercise a few demons.
I think you're right. Ravenwood, meanwhile, coming off a tough 34-18 loss at Overton this past weekend, and that's a team that's kind of looking to find itself a little bit right now as well. So you might be dealing with a couple of desperate teams Friday night at Ravenwood. Be interesting to see how that one comes out. Also, Davidson goes to DCA in a Division II single A matchup.
Oh yes, and Ani is back for Davidson Academy. I talked to him week 0. He just had shoulder surgery and he's been out for 8 weeks, and he made his debut last week against FRA. And I don't know how much it helped them. They won the game, but the back from FRA went over 200 yards rushing by himself. So we'll see. But he had numerous college scholarship offers before he ever touched the field as a high school football player. He and his bookend on the other side, Bennett Easy.
And I noticed you didn't call Ani by his last name.
That's right, because I have to go get him to pronounce it.
Yeah, there we go. Ani, he's a defensive end. Keep an eye on him both as this year winds up and next year as well. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, Nashville's answer to fast, friendly, healthy comfort food. With a menu featuring assorted grilled meats, fresh veggies, and a dash of inspiration, Taziki's casual dining is perfect for lunch, before a movie, or a dinner featuring laughter and great memories. Originality is our nationality. With 7 Middle Tennessee locations, one of them is near you. Check www.tazikiscafe.com to select your nearest location and next favorite dish.
Want to play ball at the next level? You got what it takes? Then you got to provide a professional highlight video to coaches. Recruit Reels is the nation's leading sports highlight video production company, and they're here in Tennessee. Starting at just $3.99, Recruit Reels helps student athletes realize their dream, and families afford college. Watch highlight videos and review video packages at recruitreels.com. Call them at 615-896-6076.
In our pick sixes last week, we did pretty good. And only a field goal kept us from being undefeated. Nashville Christian went to Gordonsville. The Eagles won. We picked them. Middle Tennessee Christian went to Trousdale County. The Yellow Jackets won. We picked them. Brentwood went to Centennial. The host Cougars won. We picked them. Oakland came over here to Riverdale. We took the Patriots. We already talked about that one, 35-7 Oakland. And Ravenwood went to Overton, and Overton won that one 34-18. We had that one. Your alma mater.
And that's my fault.
Yeah, exactly. Your alma mater went down to Pulaski, went down to the Brickyard to take on Giles County in a big Region 4-4A game. Got a kick six out of Cruz Kerrigan to close the half, close the margin down to 21-14. Got a 23-yard field goal with 11 seconds left out of UT commitment Brent Samaglia, and Page won 38-35, despite both of us picking the host Bobcats.
I guess that's what I get for picking the other team.
Well, you know what? You picked against your alma mater and got beat. I picked against mine the week before and got beat. Maybe we need to learn from that.
Maybe so.
Yeah, so with that said, Franklin at Mount Juliet, who do you like?
I like the Rebels in that game. I think the Rebels have a good enough defense to make it tough on the Bears, even though the Bears are at home.
I think Franklin can score enough in this one. And going back to our conversation from a couple of seconds ago, I'm going to go with the Rebels. CPA at Good Pasture, who you like?
I'm going with Ingle Martin and that tradition there. I think they've been there, and even though Cameron Tompkins is on the other side, and he's tough, but I think CPA will win that game.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. I'm going to go with the host Cougars. I think that the job that Jerry Jocelyn has done out there, he's got those kids playing with a lot of confidence. They bounced back from that loss to Stratford a couple of weeks ago. I like the Cougars to get it done in this one. Gallatin at Hillsboro.
Gallatin, they like to run that ball so tough with Mr. Mason, but I'm thinking Hillsboro's got enough defense to slow him down enough to win that game.
I think Hillsboro's got enough defense to slow him down. I don't know if they've got enough offense. I'm going with the Green Wave on the road in this one. Henry County at Brentwood.
Going with Henry County. I think Henry County's got enough offense to keep it going.
I just think Henry County is a little more tested right now than Brentwood is. I like the Patriots on the road here. Summit at Stewart's Creek.
That's a pick 'em. I'm going to go with Summit because they just seem to have the magic touch right now.
I like what Summit is doing with the run game as well. I like the Spartans in this one. They're playing awfully well. They're a young team with a lot of confidence, and it'd be another great boost for that program to get a win on the road in this situation. I like Summit. What about this one? Riverdale going to Smyrna. Who you like?
Smyrna should win this game. They have too much offense, and I think too much on defense for Riverdale to compete for long.
I like the Bulldogs in this one as they continue to kind of regroup from a couple of losses that they've had early on. The Independence loss, the Blackman loss, which I think that Blackman loss doesn't look as bad now as maybe it did at the time. But I like Smyrna at home in this one against Riverdale. That's what we think. Let us know what you think. Hashtag BeatMostradamus on Twitter. Shoot me your picks of those Pick 6 games. Get more of them right than I do. We throw you into a drawing for a Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe gift card. 8 locations in Middle Tennessee. One of them's got to be near you. Be sure and go to the website, mopattonsports.com. Check out Mo's 4-Down Territory. Get caught up from last week as you get ready for this week. Check out Mo's Elite 11 as well, where we break down the top 11 teams in the mid-state. And be sure and catch the Strike and Spare Coaches Show podcast as it drops later this week, where we'll be catching up with a couple of coaches involved in some of these key Week 10 matchups. So that's going to do it for this Mo Patton Sports videocast. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Terrence Smithson. We'll see you at the ball game.